Okay, welcome to the October 16th, 2023 meeting of the Yarmouth Board of Health. I'm Hillard Bosky, one of the members of the board. First thing up would be attendance. So just let us know if you're present. Mary.
Present.
Larry.
Present.
Charlie.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and Eric, I know will not be here tonight. Okay. We've been saying this for forever, unfortunately, but due to the pandemic, please note that this is a hybrid participation meeting, Zoom or attend at town hall. People can call in. Instructions are on the website if people want to look at different options of how to participate. People can ask questions, whether they're on the phone or at home, zooming in. I think that's enough to carry things here. Just made the town website. Why don't I just repeat that again? It's www.yarmouth.ma.us. Once again, www.yarmouth.ma.us. Okay. Off we go. The first item on the agenda is public comment. And I would just ask if there are people here for item number 2 for the sale of tobacco. We wait until we reach that part of the meeting. So if there are other issues, this is your time. The public, come forward. Do we have any hands up? Is that one over there?
Tom Nicanello looks like he's on there. I don't know if he's have a comment or not.
Well, Tom,
I think you have to bring him up.
is he on mute or? Okay, there we go.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. I did not have a comment. I was just going to view the meeting tonight, but
Excuse me, Tom, just a little louder. Thank you.
right. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did not have a public comment. I was just going to view the meeting. However, I was invited in. So let me just say thank you very much for all your hard work. The Board of Health, it's one of the healthiest departments in town. So thank you very much.
Thank you as usual. Great. It's always nice to have people participate. Good. Anyone else? Anybody see anybody up there? I don't. Okay. The second item here is a hearing. It's restricting the sale of tobacco products regulation, possible vote tonight. Hopefully everyone got a chance to review all the information. We have a up-to-date draft of the regulations that we have been working on for quite some time. Do we have anyone here tonight who's participating? Just
Sarah's with us.
okay. And Sarah, you can hear us?
I can hear you fine, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, just for the public, so we know what your position is.
Sure. I'll hit my video on. I'm Sarah McColgan. I'm the director of the Tobacco Control Program for Massachusetts Health Officers Association. And we provide technical assistance to local boards of health on all tobacco related issues.
Great, appreciate you being here. Okay, why don't we go page by page and see where we are at this point. So on page 1, anyone on the board have any comments? Okay, see there none. Page 2. Okay, page 3. Okay, marching through. Okay, page 4. All right. Page 5. I have one comment here, and that's towards the top. It's under number 3, identification. First paragraph A, And this says each person selling or distributing tobacco products shall first verify the age of every purchaser of tobacco products by means of a valid government issued photographic identification containing the bearer's date of birth, that the purchaser is 21 or older. The question I have is, what would be the procedure if you have someone here relocating from another country? I'm not sure everyone would have a valid government issued ID to meet these requirements. So I just like to hear everyone's comments of where we're at.
Passports?
That'll meet it. Okay, so people just need to know that they're walking in, purchase, and they bring their passports along, because most people don't want to walk around with them. So that's something that they may find out, which is fine with me. Okay,
They don't have anything else that might be what they do carry.
yeah.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Sarah, what are the acceptable, the chairman brings up a very good point. Should we
Yeah.
delineate, should the board delineate the acceptable identification or age identifications that that are acceptable in Yarmouth? Or
No,
or that
that-
the state allows?
Right, Jay, that language is part of the state law, as far as accepting valid government issued photographic identification. And as your board member said, a passport from the home country that it was issued in is a valid, and it's valid identification. And it's really the only paper identification that retailers are allowed to take for IDs of tobacco sales.
Okay, so that's page 5. I just want to open this up a little bit. Anyone here in the audience would like to make any comments about what we've covered so far through page 5, or what we've talked about? You may not have. Oh, great, we have someone there. Just come up to the mic, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Vishal Shukla, the owner of Station Avenue Convenience Store, as well as the Yamathpur Village. So on page number 5 and the number 3, it says like the only state issued ID or government issue ID also.
Well, it would not require a state ID if that's what you mean on letter A, which is what we were just discussing.
So is sometime the people or person comes with a green card, for example. It has a birth date and their pictures on it. Passport, the other example.
Right.
Military ID, that's the third example. So
Yep.
do we can that,
Yes.
we can put that in the language, or we can just,
I don't think it's necessary, as we just heard from Sharon. I think that's a given, which is great. I just want to make sure publicly that was stated. So it's good.
Sarah?
That's state language.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Sarah, so all those fit the definition of a government, a valid government issued photograph identification.
They absolutely do, along with the Massachusetts state ID for somebody who doesn't have a driver's license. I believe that there's also an alcohol ID for somebody who's old enough to purchase alcohol, but also does not drive. So government issued, it's got a photograph on it, and they've got an expiration date and a date of birth on them.
so any other country's ID does not valid.
It-
Sarah, look,
It is, if it's issued by the government of that country. And if it's a photograph, if it fits our parameters as far as a photographic identification, and the photograph is the person standing there holding the ID, then it is definitely valid. Paper identifications are not acceptable. Again, aside from a US passport, it's not an easy proposition to get a fake US passport, but it's pretty easy to get a fake ID. Things like library cards are not acceptable. But something issued by by the town, by the US government, by the state of Massachusetts, or any other state or commonwealth in the United States.
Oh, okay, Sarah, I don't mean to, I think his interpretation was, what if it's other governments, exactly, foreign governments,
Other countries.
as that recognized?
It is, as long as it meets our parameters as far as having a photograph, being issued by a government. Hopefully, it needs to have a date of birth. You know, if it has an expiration date, that's great, but it would definitely need to have a date of birth of the person holding the identification. And it would need to establish that they're at least 21 years of age, regardless of what the age to purchase is, wherever they come from.
That answer?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go to page 6. Have any comments? I just want to review one item here on page 6, and that's number 10, retail density. Now, last meeting, we had 3 letters that were kind of handed in right before the meeting, and we really didn't discuss them. One was from Bucky's Convenience Store, one was from Becker's Package Store, and one was from, I guess this was from Maine Realty Trust. Now, 2 of them, I think I didn't get the third one in the packet. I have
2 are the same. 2 of them are the same letter. Is that right, Erica?
with just different names on them. Because here, one is from Bucky's. And now the letter. I think they may be different. The one looks like it's on top, it's Fuchan Low trustee. Signature you can't really make out, so I don't know who it's from. And that was a letter from September 28th. So that was one of them. Becker's Package Store was in, okay. So I don't think there's a date on it. So you're saying 2 of them are identical?
I just want to check with Erica.
Okay. So they're just from different people then? I guess.
But I was sort of the same signature, that's what I have.
You have 2. I have 3. In other words, I have one from a trustee. Now, what is that identical to? Is that identical to? Because the first sentence is as trustee of 1313 Main Street Realty Trust. I'm not sure.
You help me bring those up.
2 of those from the trustee, I have 2 of the same thing in my packet. That's why I only make 1 copy of it. I don't know about the third one.
Well, did it, okay, in the packet that you brought in tonight, everyone, do you have one from Bucky's Convenience Store?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't have one.
No,
I don't have it either.
No.
So,
I have the other 2.
yeah, okay, so that's what happened. So it wasn't just my packet. So we have 3 different letters. Hopefully, all 3 were there last meeting?
Sure.
Right, so, okay, so let's assume everyone read them again. I guess I'm okay with that. I just know one letter was very specific about retail density and distances and about
2 of them.
2, okay. So then, if there's anyone here tonight that'd like to discuss some of the regulation reference to different distances from stores, that would be selling tobacco. Is there anyone here who has a concern about that? One of the issues I thought was a good point, and that was if someone wants to open a tobacco store and there are not that many open stores where it would be convenient or made sense from a business standpoint of view, that could interfere with the business opening up. So I think I'd like to hear from board members what their thoughts are on the distances between stores that are selling tobacco.
I was frankly confused by this letter from the Huchan Low Trust,
Okay,
or the trustee of the 1313 Main Realty Trust.
okay,
Brought back to mind the place on 28, the little strip area where the retailer that was in it lost the license.
Yes.
And then the planning commission wanted us to do something so that they could get somebody into that area, and it had to be someone with there was no one interested unless there was a tobacco permit. And we couldn't do it because that permit had been retired.
right.
So that's what I thought of with this, because like you said, if somebody wanted to put in a tobacco store, and there already were some, if we had this in place within 2,000 feet, they'd have to have a tobacco license in order to do it, because we're not going to issue any new
Right.
ones, right?
Correct.
So I don't understand. I didn't understand this argument or this problem.
If someone wanted to, they have a tobacco, permit,
They have one.
they have
Okay,
one, and they just want to move the location.
right.
And this regulation would
Because-
limit that.
Because the rent is too high. Like you said, it's not
Yes.
economical. Okay.
Does that interfere with our goal as a board?
Well, it does if we say that we don't want a lot of tobacco retailers together, bunched up together within a small area. It doesn't right now because we don't say anything about space. But if we want to include that in our revised policy regulations, then
Do you think that's helpful for what the goal of the board is? In other words, it's not going to be a new
Right.
permit.
Right.
For the business owner, it'll be more competition locally. I don't know if that's in their best interest or not. That's not a concern that we have.
Mr. Chairman, if I,
wants to speak,
go right ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
please.
So page number 6, section 8 and C, is that what we're discussing right now? Like the adult only retail tobacco store permits, or, I mean,
Why don't you just repeat again, which area are you speaking about?
page number 6,
Yes.
8 and number C. Is that adult only retail stores prohibition on the town of Yarmouth that we're discussing, or are we discussing that 2,000 feet?
10, we were discussing number 10, retail density.
Right.
Right.
So based on the store prospect, if we have something, so the retailer is already there right now, it's grandfathered. Am I right? If it is right next to each other.
Yes,
So any new location, which is the people already have, or the retailer already have current permit, he wants to move within a 2,000 feet from the other retailer. I think that would be a good idea. So no other retailer has a competition between 2,000 square feet or 2,000 feet, which is good. That I do like it, in other words. But obviously, we have a 29 licenses or permits right now.
Right.
We not gonna issue any new one.
Correct.
So the new location is the right fit, not the new licenses, obviously. But only one thing, so we prohibited the smoking bars in town of Yarmouth.
Correct.
And I'm gonna come back to the 8 and C. So adult only retail tobacco store, which is considering a smoke shop.
Right.
So when anybody applies for smoke shop, they will not able to get
Right.
the food permit.
Correct.
So they will only get the tobacco permit only. So,
No. No, not unless they're buying it from somebody.
right, so if it is like, I'm just throwing you my idea. The Station Avenue convenience store is doing good. But down the line, if they don't do good, and if I want to change that to a smoke shop, is that consider or that not consider?
No, it's
Would not be.
prohibited, right? Doesn't matter
Okay,
whether they had a tobacco license or not. Were prohibiting adult,
exactly, yeah, so
stores.
that was, I just want to clear about that.
right?
Okay.
No, they
And-
couldn't
and,
convert it.
The 2,000 feet, the new locations, I think I would go for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else on page 6?
Mr. Chairman, I would say this, and Mayor, it's a little, like, say, it's a little confusing. I think this speaks to available commercial space. This is like the
Right.
29,
Yes.
we're saying we're limiting how many you can have for commercial space. This is also saying we're going to have spread, right? We're going to have distance between.
Right.
And he's bringing up a point, a valid one from his industry. Commercial retail space, it is limiting. You're right. It is limiting. And like the board has done, only 29 permits are available. That is also limiting.
Mhm.
It's a controlled product by this board, and that is part this in as far as a retail is concerned, as far as, I'm sorry, a real estate developer or what he is saying is selling commercial space, it becomes difficult
For a landholder.
for a
Right.
landlord, yeah, for a
Right.
landlord.
Right.
But that's right. That's part of this is,
That's not
that's
our
right.
purview.
right.
Okay.
All right.
How was the 2,000 feet arrived at? That's about a third of a mile.
Sarah, can you help
Yeah,
us
we
with
had a
that?
choice of 3 distances or I think, or something, as I recall.
And said 500, 100, 1,000, 2,000, and I think you said most towns were saying 2,000.
Correct. That's, the choices that generally most municipalities have stuck with is either 500, 1,000 or 2,000. And my understanding was when I got the draft regulations from you folks, that it had 2,000, that you had already decided on the 2,000. You
Right.
can amend that if you'd like.
So now would be the time if you want to think about making a change, that's all.
Oh, I just,
Sarah, Larry is asking, how was that determined? How are we making that 2,000 feet? Is that just through Google Maps? We're looking at what's,
Yeah, it's a measurement from the corner of one store to the corner of the next store.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that I'm not good at GPS mapping things, but I think that that's probably a way that it can be done.
that's satisfying.
so that's sort of an effort to maintain status quo. Is that what she's saying?
To keep
Right.
having a retailer in each corner,
Sure.
Correct.
Well, they'll certainly do that.
right?
Okay.
Okay. 7. Anyone? I have one. I just need some clarification. We're once again on page 7, letter J. And it's on the prohibition of the sale of blunt wraps. No person or entity shall sell or distribute flavored blunt wraps in Yarmouth. No person or entity shall sell or distribute blunt wraps to persons under 21 years of age. So the takeaway for me is that non-flavored blunts can be sold in town. Is that correct?
Adults over 21.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, non-flavored blunt wraps can be sold to people over 21. This was wording that you had discussed at your last meeting, that you kind of specifically wanted it separated out so that somebody of legal age could purchase a non-flavored blunt wrap.
Right, great, good, just want to make sure we had it right. Okay, page 8, anyone? Okay, 9. I have one just question on number 9, all the way at the bottom on the right side. This is underneath policies subject to local regulation. The first one, prohibition of the sale of blunt wraps. Should that be where it would be flavored blunt wraps? Because,
No, because we don't want blunt wraps sold to people under 21.
We could just add the words prohibition of the sale of blunt wraps to people under 21.
yeah, just the same way on the left column under policy subject to state law fines, the last one there, points out the age and so on. I don't know how people feel. I'm going to think, put the age there, so there's
It's fine.
no confusion. That it's not saying you cannot sell blunt wraps, it's just you can't sell flavored and you can't sell wraps, period, to age 21. Okay, under 21 rather. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, can I just clarification? So you're editing it on the right-hand column, the prohibition of sales of blunt wraps to individuals under 21,
right.
right? And then on the left-hand column, where was the edit?
There isn't. I was just
Okay.
pointing out we had an age there, nothing.
All right.
So that's just one edit on page 9.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. 10. Page 10.
Excuse me, on 9, are we going to address the concerns that gentleman had? I believe it was Becker's Package Store about violations and the violations in a very short period. I think that's discussed
Yes,
on page 9.
yes, we should talk about that because that was the letter. That was the,
Okay, so that was from,
This was Muhammad Becker's Package Store,
in our package. Right.
dated September 29.
right.
His concerns, he
Felt it was too harsh because, and he gave some examples of how it could happen in a way that would be really punitive. Yes.
Yeah, the question I had with that was regarding each day of the first violation, each day that violation continues is considered another violation. Is that correct? Is that,
It is correct, and that's state law. So
Pardon?
I did
The
check
law.
that, and you need to leave that in.
okay.
That's that's state
So
law.
my thought is that that's what he's referring to. On his paragraph, it says further, it would seem that even if there are 3 violations within a very short period, some of which may not yet have been reported to the business owner, the permit would be non-renewed due to one negligent employee without the owner's knowledge or ability to rectify the situation.
Right. It wasn't so much the fine was daily, but that the fine, that the suspension, the removal of the permit, the canceling of the permit could happen in a way that had not really given the owner the opportunity to even know about it, let alone address it.
Right.
Although,
Can I address that, Mr. Chair?
Oh, by all means.
yes,
So we're talking about 3 or more violations within 36 months. Each of these provisions are within 36 months of the first one. So if a compliance check is done and it's the 3rd violation, or it's the second, let's say it's the 2nd violation, another compliance check would not be done before that retailer would be notified of that violation by a cease and desist order from your office, where not only there would be the fine, but he would also be afforded the right to have a hearing regarding his permit suspension. So that scenario can't play out. The board is required to provide the retailer with notice of the violation and their right to a permit hearing, and no other compliance check by the local Board of Health would take place until probably 3 months, 6 months after that disposition is arrived at.
You said local, what about the county?
The county does not do compliance checks. You do them locally. The
Okay.
county holds the grant money for you, but you do them locally. The federal government does do compliance checks, but local boards of health do not enforce on those. The federal government enforces, and it's a totally separate entity from what we do. We don't affect theirs, and they don't affect ours.
Larry, is that helpful?
Yes, it is.
Is someone here from Becker's Package Store here by any chance?
Well, he's referring to something that isn't even in this policy that we're discussing right now.
Why don't you clarify that? Great.
He's saying section E, tobacco product sale permit, paragraph 11. There is no,
Well, that's a
Paragraph
dated,
11
it's dated letter is unfortunately, we've been changing letters and numbers, pages. That was,
but it's moot because
okay,
it's not in here. It's not within the year, the permit year. It's within 36
Right.
months. So I think it's okay.
okay. I'm fine with
There's
it.
Plenty of time to,
Right,
it's not just within a year.
okay. Page 10. What happens here in town for a late application? In other words, is there a grace period or how do we handle that?
It's true. Typically, it's a third, actually, my experience has been in the 2 years, the 2 rounds I've seen of applications, they're all in advance, but there's a 30-day grace period they would give them.
Does that have to be here? Does that, or not? In other words, could someone 2 years from now say, well, now we'll give 3 weeks, 5 weeks? Does that need to be in regulations about a grace period or not? It's the only question I had.
I don't know, Sarah, you can speak to this as far as the state. I can tell you the in-house policy has been, and without exception, those applications come in immediately just because of the value. We did see one, and the board saw this one time where a third party was responsible. And the board deliberated and adjudicated that situation, but we typically give 30 days to try to get that in, and that includes some visits. We're going to go in to remind them that in fact that needs to be done.
This was the person who claimed he was outside the country at the time?
He was, and he had an accountant, a vendor, a hired who was doing their payroll and the processing from across multiple communities. It's a one-off. It doesn't happen that often.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
question is, should it be delineated? Should it be spelled out?
I don't know the answer to that, but that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, no, I understand. Sarah, can I
You
ask?
could lose your license. That's the reason it's important.
Yeah, I think if the town, if the Board of Health has a policy with other permits that they give out to retailers for various reasons, stick within that policy, and I don't believe that you have to spell it out. Yeah,
Okay, the in-house policy is 30 days,
Right.
but typically we don't have to exercise that. They're doing that because of the chances they could lose their permit. There's only 29 of them, and they're not going to take that chance.
Right.
Understandably so.
For sure.
We were in close contact, I can tell you, with those permit, and they're working with us because they understand of the punitive measures that can come in, and the value they see of that. It's a highly regulated product, and we are in very close communication. But by the fact that some of the permit holders are here tonight, they're an engaged group. I can tell you that.
Okay. Next would be page 11, which appears in maybe the last page of the regulations, everyone. Anyone, comments? Any suggestions for edits, anything? See that there are none. We have somebody?
Is anyone, you folks are here, is there anyone that wants to speak on this?
Because this could go on to a vote tonight if someone makes a motion, so this would be the time for you. If you have any comments, that may be over tonight, so to speak, we finished regulations. All right. See, there are none.
I just ask, Sarah, is there anything else that the board is, any less additional guidance that the board maybe could use in their discussion?
No, I don't believe so. I think, if the board is going to vote tonight, once they take their vote, we need to provide them with a clean copy. I know that there's at least one edit to the chart to add under 21 on the blunt wraps. And then, the board tonight, when they take their vote, would set an effective date for the regulations. And then we can get them a clean copy that they could sign at the next meeting. And then it can go online to the retailers, and there's a notice, Jay, that you can send out to the retailers to advise them that there was a meeting tonight and that the board did make a decision to revise regulations and how they would be able to access those regulations.
I mean, the work comes out of your office in sense of timing. If someone's going to make a motion, if they're making a motion tonight, time wise, what do you need before these would go into effect? This falls upon you.
Is it reasonable that at the beginning part of the year, January 1st? Is that reasonable?
It's fine with me. It's you're doing all the work. Your department's doing all the work. So
Well, the reason I say that is because we're just about to send out, a matter of fact, some emails were shared today internally with applications speaking to exactly the permit holders, and they would probably going out over the next 2 weeks, certainly by the end of this month. We'll probably get them back in November.
Right.
So I think the turn of the calendar might make sense. We certainly can do that far shorter than that. It's really up to the board. We can turn this around in a very short amount of time.
board members, what do you want to do about dates?
I think the first of the year is reasonable.
I do too. That's fine.
Sorry?
January 1st.
I mean, we haven't simplified anything, so here's something that would be simple.
So.
Maybe too soon.
So there is a draft. These are minus the edit for tonight. These are up on the the health website. All of the permit holders were told that there was a meeting, a potential vote tonight and a public hearing. We additionally would then put up, as Sarah mentioned, the finalized, if the board were to make a motion and to move forward. There is a period where then actually it sits in the clerk's office for a time where someone can, make an appeal of some sort, if they wanted to, and then it would be enacted given whatever date you put to that.
So you're entertaining a motion.
Yeah,
I move that we adopt the regulation of the Yarmouth Board of Health restricting the sale of tobacco products effective October 16th, 2023, with the one edit on page 9 under prohibition of the sale of blunt wraps to persons under 21 years old, and that it become effective January 1st, 2024.
perfect. That's clear. Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor, just raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Great. Unanimous, great. Okay,
Eric, are you good with all that? Did you catch all that? Thank you.
And you'll be bringing out copies of the new regulation too, right, everybody?
We will certainly do that.
okay. Any other comments, Sarah? Anything?
No, I don't think so. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with you folks again. And between Erica and I, we'll get that cleaned up and all set for you to sign at your next meeting.
That sounds good. We're not here to torture you, so you don't really have to stay for the whole meeting if you'd like to.
So,
This is your exit time.
I will leave. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a
so
good
thanks for all
evening,
your help
everybody.
through this process.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
So appreciate it.
We have
Okay.
one comment out, though.
Oh.
So we just made a motion to go this regulation to be in effect by January 1st. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Just the thought, if somebody wants to do anything, if somebody wants to open the smoke shop prior to January 1st, they can able to do it?
Oh,
What does our current regulation say?
I
What's in effect now?
thought we already prohibited them.
No, a smoke
No,
shop
the
is
smoking
already,
bars are
I
prohibited.
think it
not-
is already barred, but
it is. Well, I see now we're not, we're now lining up with the state. In the past, it's not even allowed in Yarmouth. What was available.
That was
was not.
Smoking bars are not allowed,
Right.
not adult only stores. If I'm not mistaken.
We
you know,
have a
I wouldn't
copy of
wanna-
the Current policy that we.
I would want to look at that before I gave an answer, quite frankly. I would want to look at that. I don't think it is available.
Uh-huh.
Erica, do you have a copy of the current regulation with you
Oh, my bad, yeah.
on your desk? Could we check that for him?
Can we, yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, take your time. That's fine.
We'll check. You
Now,
know
is
something
this-
we don't know? Somebody looking around to open a.
No, I mean,
smoking
just,
bar?
it, because of the grace period. I'm just wondering if it is possible, if somebody wants to do it.
Is it the same permit for
No.
the bar? It's different, right?
It is different,
Right.
yes.
it is a
Yeah.
different permit.
No,
Smoking bar is the way
Yeah.
you can sit down and smoke.
right.
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 And smoking bars, you can even allowed to sell a flavor, tobacco, cigarettes, cigars, and everything.
I'm going to wait till Erica comes back, but my recollection is that is not allowed.
I don't believe.
Smoking bars are not, yeah, that is clear in the regulation. Smoking bars are not.
Right.
But smoke, bottle only store, that I don't,
And
think
I
it
know
is.
it, I know we discussed it and Bruce would say, no, we don't have any in Yarmouth, so. It's
yeah, at that
possible-
time, we didn't have any.
Right, and so it's possible we may have.
The fact that there weren't any applications, it was,
Mhm.
it was vacant. It wasn't outlined or delineated, but let's just see, let's see what we hear.
I thought we did outlaw them.
So I could put you in a confusion.
It is, yep, but we'll find out.
If that issue did come up, would we rule on it? Would we look at that application?
No, because we're gonna look at our current,
I see.
the regulations that are in place right now before this January to see, because I don't remember whether we absolutely prohibited them or not. I know we didn't have any when it came up for discussion, because we did discuss it.
Okay.
And there weren't any and there hadn't been any, but just frankly don't remember if we said we were prohibiting them. And if we were, then doesn't matter. Nobody
Right.
can. If we weren't, then
Yeah, I just speak, you've created a scenario and you're creating a what if, right? Well, could this happen? So
Right.
we have less than 2.5 months. We have the rest of October, November and December, and then they all come due. I don't think that scenario can actually physically or legally transfer itself unless there's something already in the works. We're really up against the end. Like I said, I think within a couple of weeks, the 24s applications are going to go out.
Right.
Then the rules change on January 1st. Between now, the 16th of October and January 1st, you're saying, is there a scenario of time where in that the 60s, whatever, 5 days or 70 days, could this be enacted?
Well, if we did not prohibit them in the current regulation, I would make a motion that we prohibit them in the interim period before the new regulation goes into effect. I mean, that's what I would do as a possible solution to that.
Pardon me?
I wrote up on it because I was comparing with the other one. Mhm.
I don't, I'm looking under the products for sale.
How about under definitions? Is it listed? If it's not listed under definition, it's probably not in the regulation.
So there is it does give the definition of a smoking bar.
Right. About adult only.
Yeah. No. I don't speak, it doesn't speak to that.
Can I make that motion?
No.
I move that we put into effect immediately the prohibition of adult-only retail smoking sales in Yarmouth.
Okay. And that would be literally in the interim
Yes, right.
Right.
Before it became part of the new
of the new
full policy.
policy.
Right.
Is there a second to the motion? Once again, just, occasionally I'll say this, just because someone is seconding a motion doesn't mean they're gonna vote for it. Just so you'll be aware of that. It's just so we can,
Discussion.
yeah, that's all. Right.
I'd second it. I'd second that motion.
Okay, so some discussion, if any. Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye, it's none. Okay.
That's exactly what I want. Because we don't want to give anybody a chance to do it.
Right.
Thank you.
Once again, thanks for coming up.
Okay.
Sarah, were you able, oh, Sarah. Erica, were you able to capture the wording of that motion?
I'm gonna,
Listen to the,
I'm gonna
listen.
put it up.
understood. Okay, as long as you got it.
Thank you, Erica.
Okay. On the agenda again here, number 3 is a hearing for property on 142 Captain Small Road, South Yarmouth. I guess for a possible vote, and this is for a variance involving bedrooms. I can just say that been on the board a while, and this application is by far more documents than any other variance applications than we've ever had, certainly while I've been on the board. And it was difficult to get a timeline of it, what it specifically is being requested. Before we start, biggest question is, even though there are a lot of documents here, is the application complete before we even address the application? We have all the documents, because I know we've had one case here that came before us where there was an issue of incomplete applications. So we need a full application if we're going to spend the evening working on this. And that would be the health department needs to have made that decision, right, whether it's all here or not.
The application is complete. There are some things here that you need to understand. What you're looking at is not, I've never seen this before in my time, and this is not a Title V variance. This is a Zone 2 variance. And I did let the applicant know, and Sharon DeGenario decided to move forward with this, but I said, I would never presuppose the vote of the board, but it's just never happened in my time talking to my predecessor or in my time here where, because this is Zone 2 DEP regulations. This is not a Title V, a setback variance
Right.
or a reduction in space from water. So what you're seeing is something that you've never seen before or has never been put before the board, a Zone 2 variance on bedrooms, actually.
We have seen these
To this level,
room variances, yes,
bedroom variance, in my time, I had never seen it.
but we have.
Have you?
Yeah, and there are issues of floor plans. It's,
What is a bedroom? Yeah.
That's all going to be spelled out for you.
No, I'm saying that's what we've dealt with. What is a
Okay.
bedroom,
Sure.
is this basement thing a bedroom, or is this space that they're putting upstairs now a bedroom? And
It gets more complicated, but
Sure.
you're going to hear all that.
yes,
I had never seen that put
Okay.
before the board, and I did counsel the applicant that in fact that hadn't seen that before. You're going to be in front of an engineer and he's going to be explaining that.
it's been a while, but we in the past have seen a lot of these, actually. A
yes.
lot of floor plans, a lot of scenarios.
Right.
And it's been difficult in trying to
Yeah.
treat everyone the same
Some of it
for
is
these applications.
subjective.
What you said is helpful for me because I was reading through it and I wasn't even sure why I'm reading or why I'm reading it or what the application was about. So hopefully this will get accomplished tonight. As I said, a lot of material, and I personally, I don't know how the other board members found it. I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at or why I was looking at it.
And Mr. Chairman, will also be helpful is Barry Lewis has been to the property.
Okay,
He has seen it. He'll be able to give a good explanation, and certainly the applicant and counsel will be able to provide
Council.
friend or
Brother-in-law. who's
Brother-in-law,
gonna
okay.
Get through it.
okay.
yeah, in fact, 8 times maybe lose a visit. I think we'll lose a comment about it here. So who wants to introduce this, Jay? Just to
I'll tee
start.
this up. I'll tee this up. This has been a process and it came to light where the applicant wanted to bring in, had to have a bedroom and actually an apartment for a caregiver that was brought to our attention. It quickly brought over to the buildings department, and you'll see a letter, a violation letter where some work has been done without the proper permits. So a basement apartment has been installed, not completed, but has been significantly, probably 85, which is say 90% installed in the basement. That is also going to be part of your equation here, what you need to deliberate, that there is an illegal work was being done in the basement. Working through that, Sharon had said, listen, I need some help. I need some caregiving help here. And I said, well, there is one way. This is one step in this process is to get the board to say, yes, there can be a bedroom here. And then there is planning board. There's some other things that the buildings department will take over to allow that process. But this was in fact the first hurdle. And what complicates it is that in fact, it's in Zone 2 DEP regulations, and you have the definition of Zone 2 where I can tell you with certainty, I have never seen that where we have said, because I call over to DEP, where we say, can we upwardly adjust the number of bedrooms? And our DPW has said, if the line is maybe part of their property line, we can maybe make a variance. But this is the headwaters for our well, and they typically don't upwardly adjust bedrooms if someone is, if a dwelling or a property is within Zone 2.
So it's not the aquifer protection. district.
That's what's called, so the wellhead, yes,
You're
and you
saying
have a definition,
Wellhead protection.
wellhead protection, that's exactly right. And those are state regulations.
Right, right. And
I think maybe some clarity if the applicant could maybe present her case.
One question before we start. So the size of the septic system is not relevant in this
It most certainly is, and that's going to be also part of.
Is or isn't?
It is very much so. Yes, that's another determining factor.
Okay, so we don't have the septic plans here in the packet, at least I didn't.
Nope.
I think I might have them with me. As we go down, I'll.
That'll
check
be
in my
tough
notes.
for the meeting, but okay, all right.
Barry
What's,
is familiar with that.
Yes.
Jay, I had a couple questions going through this, this extensive application. Initially, the property was owned for 2-bedroom, and then it was up to 3 by Amy, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that correct? That it
That's
seems to
what-
be
Mhm.
legally up to 3.
Right.
So now we want to go to 4. Okay.
There are 4.
No, we want to keep it 3.
Keep it 3.
We want to take one out.
Okay. So does that involve changing the septic?
No,
No, we have a septic for 3,
Okay.
which is what the Board of Health,
So you're not looking for a 4th bedroom, you're just,
we're looking to take the 4th bedroom out.
so it was already established in the previously 2018, I believe, that it was the zoning was changed, or at least on the permit, it was changed from 2 to 3.
yes.
Okay,
Through field cards, one field card in June of 2017 read 3-bedroom. In September of 2017, the field card read 2-bedroom.
okay,
My information when I purchased it was 3-bedroom. And so I contacted the real estate agent who contacted Amy Van Hoen. And she showed her the field card that read 3-bedroom.
Okay.
And then everything was changed to, the new septic was going in. They changed the paperwork to make sure it reflected the 3-bedroom.
okay.
And I built on that
I
foundation.
see she signed off on that.
Yes.
Amy, was she the
Assistant
Board of
Health
Health
Director. Assistant Health
assistant
Director.
at that point, and she had the authority to do that?
And just for a point of clarification, you would never see a 2-bedroom septic system for functionality and beyond. The minimum, the baseline, the floor of septic systems would be for 3-bedroom.
Okay,
Many of these have deed restrictions. The buildings department has this dwelling as a 2-bedroom.
right.
Title 5 says it has to be to do all, since the 95 code went in, all septics have to be a minimum of 3 bedrooms. Whether you have 1, 2, or 3, it's a minimum of 3.
So was the fact that it was changed from 2-bedroom to 3-bedroom impact this application at all?
Yes, in odd ways.
Yeah, I don't know how that came about. That's unexplainable to us.
okay,
I-
Barry, do
I
you want to start
actually-
presenting it or do you want Sharon to start presenting this?
Sharon can present and I'll follow.
Okay, keep in mind, there are people who are watching. And there are people who've just called in and don't see anything, just, there's nothing visual, so they're just listening perhaps by phone, so keep that in mind. It's complicated, and so you're on.
Introduce yourself.
My name is Sharon DeGennaro. I live at 142 Captain Small Road, and I've been there 5 years. And I brought my brother-in-law to give me a hand if I wander off. I have a brain injury. This time of day is my weakest time, but I did a lot of research the last 2 weeks, which actually was terrifying to me, but at the same time, really re-educated me on what I did when I bought the home and how I got to this place. So I'm out of sync with the town only because I came in 5 months ago and met with Mark Grills and Jay and Mary. And I think it all began with Mark Grillis saying to me, in order for you to have an ADU grant to help you put in an apartment for an aid,
Not everyone, excuse me, not everyone would know what that is.
ADU.
accessory dwelling unit.
Thank you, great.
Thank you. And so Mark said 3 things to me. These are the 3 things you're going to have to figure out. And he said, this is a mess. You didn't make the mess and you're going to have to clean it up. It's complicated to you. It's impossible for me. So I just did the parts that I know how to do. I went back through all my paperwork. I came in at least a dozen times to different town departments and asked for help. Can you help me figure out what I'm actually I actually don't even know exactly why I'm here, but I did as much, I followed what Mark said. So here's what he said to me. Your first variance is right now, the current bylaws for accessory dwelling units say that it has to be a relative living in the apartment. And also, there's a limit on how much you can charge for rent. That's been brought up in a series of meetings that on November 7th, they're going to vote to eliminate both of those things. So I think that I will not have to go for a variance for that. The second thing was the question on the size of my lot. When he did the figures, he said your lot is 10 feet by 20 feet too short. You're going to need a variance on that. That's where the 3-bedroom issue comes in, I believe. So what he was talking about is if I wanted to add a bedroom, I do not have enough acreage in zone 2 to do that. I'm not adding a bedroom. I flipped them, and I'm going to show you how I did that in 2019. So I'm not sure where that second part comes in, whether I will still have to go for a variance on the fact that my land is slightly too short for an ADU dwelling. So that's the second thing. The third was number of bedrooms, proving number of bedrooms. So I'll go down through the packets and show you how I got where I got to this moment. And I built on the foundation of buying a 3-bedroom home. When I went through the septic issues is when I flipped the bedrooms, or the bedroom for the downstairs room. And I'll explain how that happened and who approved it, which came from here also. And now in the present state, I picked up the day that I turned the packets in. I went upstairs and asked if there was any current information on the bylaws. And there is. They had a meeting last Wednesday. And so I marked some places on the bylaws to ask you questions about tonight to see if any of that ties into what we're doing. So those 3 things Mark Grillis said I will have to get down through. One of my hardest things is organizing facts and keeping them organized. It's like the ducks just fly off. I have the information, I have it for a few days, then it wanders out of my brain and I don't have it. So I keep coming back and asking the same questions, and it's hard for Jay to understand or Barry to understand that I'm out of sync with what you're asking of me because I don't understand it. And I don't have someone helping me. I did go to the disability center, and the advocate for me said, I don't understand any of this. She made one phone call to Jay asking about the dates we're meeting, and that was the help I got. I understand that it's not these departments' job to help me. So I'm doing my very best to move this forward on my own and attempt to give you what you're asking of me to make sure that I can put the department in.
Let me just,
Yep.
I'm just going to comment 1 second. It is our responsibility, or I feel it is, that regardless of what the feeling is here on the board, that you understand about our decision or about our questions. And if you need to ask something again, just ask it again. You need a 18th time, just ask it again, or ask to explain it differently.
Okay.
The only thing that complicates is we don't know what we're doing here right now.
Me neither do I. So
Right.
I'll-
So
I'll-
that's, so we're going to figure that
All right.
out together, but it needs to be clear to us as well as you. And that, we have that obligation. Okay.
So if you go to number 1 in the packet, Jay, I said to Jay, what would help me explain, like, what am I bringing to the board? And one of the things he said to me was, explain your health issues. Why do you need the ADU? Why does it need to be separate? So I wrote it out. So I'm in this packet. In number 1, what you're seeing is my original checklist that Jay gave me, and I came back 8 to a dozen times to try to understand what it is I'm supposed to be doing to help you help me. So you have doctor's letters and a counselor letters.
Just 1 second. Is this,
That's the letter.
okay? So we
That's
just
my
wanna make sure,
checklist.
board members, this is what we
Yep.
need to be.
Yep, you got it.
Make sure you have it, Larry.
I do. I saw it. It's in my pile here.
And
Just, uh,
as Jay said, it's never been done before, so he did not have a variance checklist for me. He had a Title V septic. It was so confusing. I had no idea what I was doing, and I kept coming back to for clarification and did as much as I could. So you have the information from my neighbors that they're all acknowledging I'm trying to do this. There's 2 neighbors behind me. You have I wrote a letter to them saying, this is what I'm doing. And you have doctor's letter and a counselor's letter as to why I'm attempting to put in an ADU apartment. And I actually, while I was waiting for the doctor's letters, I actually downloaded in my my chart, it's called, where the doctors write all their information. I downloaded what they see as my health issues, especially the last 3 years, they became very critical. And I didn't make copies for the 7. I was so taken aback by the number of things that they find wrong with me. I was actually embarrassed. And
I think we have enough information here.
so I'm going to read to you what number 1 is. So Jay asked me, why the hurry and why the apartment? Why am I separating out my space? I'm a highly sensitive person, HSP, and my brain chemistry is different than most people. I'm sound sensitive, light sensitive, and smell sensitive, which leads to the need to live in a quiet setting by myself. My goal is to create a peaceful, happy situationship with someone else. I will be providing a safe, quiet space to live in my downstairs and a job for the right person. They will also most likely work out in the community. I would like to keep them long-term by creating a separate space that person can go home to after working with me. I have a better chance of someone staying long-term. They don't have to live under my own health conditions. I hope this creates an atmosphere conducive for a long-term stay, and an apartment downstairs provides me with a helper and income to compensate the high levels of inflation that we're experiencing. My disability payments do not change, but my yearly bills have. Utilities are volatile and taxes are jumping each year. I make about $24,000 a year, and my bills are now over $33,000 a year. I have spent down my savings. The apartment would offset the increase. My helper would be paying $800 a month and 10 hours a week as work exchange as my needs increase. Rent would be adjusted and change of hours as my needs change, hopefully, but not for a few more years. Before I jump in, I would like to explain to you that you will meet 3 people today. The adult woman before you, the head injured woman before you, and the frightened child living in an adult body, depending on the time of day, is the person that you will meet. And depending on how much stress I'm under, also affects how I cope and the person you meet. All 3 of us are in the room. I brought my brother-in-law, who is in commercial real estate, to help me understand if I get confused. That would be the head injury. And also that I'm intimidated by persons in power. It's what took me so long to come forward and ask for help in the first place. So that is my history in packet 1. I begin there. Does anyone have any questions?
It was well written, very clear.
Thank
The only
you.
question I have, which is not somewhat related a little bit, but your disability payments from the government should change with cost of living in the same way Social Security does. You don't
Yes.
need to answer that, but it's something to keep in mind.
It doesn't
check it-
offset the difference.
No, of course not, but just to make sure they're going up. If not, you ought to pursue that. If I'm not mistaken, it should go up the same way as someone who's on Social Security. It should go up
It
based
does.
upon it does. Great. Okay.
And I will just add a little sidebar to that. As it goes up, the other side that gives me my benefits, the SNAP benefits, the heating assistance, Medicaid, that gets readjusted and eats up the difference every year. A little bit of inch forward that helps me, but not by much. So the first paper is not numbered, but it's the one that had the questions on it. What I put in there, besides the questions that I'm going to answer, what's behind that are all the deeds. So originally, when I met with Mark Grillis, he said, well, your deeds say that you have a 2-bedroom home. Deeds don't show bedrooms. And so what I learned from the assessor's office, the woman at the assessor's office, and I think it's why, and I don't have to go into it because it's been conceded that I have a 3-bedroom. But the difference between one of the assessor's field cards saying 2 and the other one saying 3 is it is subjective. She told me that they come out to the home and they look at the home, but if the home is empty, they'll assess by old records or by guessing or by over the phone with someone. So when it was presented to me, it was presented to me that the real estate agent is making the changes and that was the problem. But in actuality, the real estate agents go by the field cards. So that's how I got here. My information by the field card and by the real estate agent's field card said 3 bedrooms. And I had 2 bits of information when I bought the house. I had and you'll see that in, I think it's numbered. Well, I'll get down to it. Let's see. But when I bought the home, the paperwork that I had showed the old house, and I was loved to see the old pictures of it. And I also got current paperwork that showed the newer house that I was purchasing. I never noticed one said 3, one said 2 until we went to put the septic in. And then I had to prove it. So I had to go back and to the real estate agent who pulled the field cards and then approached Mary Von Hohn with the field cards, who then in turn changed the paperwork that said 2-bedroom septic to 3-bedroom. And I moved from that foundational place. And at that time, they came out to inspect. And when the inspector came through, I said, can I show you this upstairs bedroom? I'd like to take it out and make it the downstairs room be the bedroom. I'd like to flip them. And I'd like to do that because I don't know when I will need an apartment with an 8 in it, but I'd like to set it up while I'm doing this. And he agreed. And it's in my packets. So they changed, Lori and Schultz, the real estate agent, drew a room, drew the floor plan, and in it, that bedroom was bedroom number 3. When the gentleman came in and looked at it and okayed the flip, he made that bedroom number 2 and he moved it downstairs. And then the downstairs room, which in the inception of the building of the house was in all of the paperwork says finished room. So that was legally on everything. The downstairs room was a finished room. It wasn't called a finished bedroom, it was called a finished room. I asked if we could flip that and they agreed. So then that person that okayed it drew a new plan of the house, and that upstairs bedroom that was 3 became number 2 and it went downstairs, and the downstairs room became a den. And that's what Barry came and saw. And so when Barry came through, he said to me, you have a 4-bedroom house and one of the bedrooms is illegal. And I said, no, I already did this in 2019. This is an office. There's no beds in it. What they told me was remove the closet door and the 2-bedroom doors. I was waiting to go down through everything and put in the apartment and then remove the doors. And now we have a legal flip. What Barry said to me when he saw it was, you're going to have to make sure that this den is a den. And that's probably our discussion tonight, how to do that. But that's where I got to. So in 2019, in my mind's eye, we had already flipped it. I applied to have J1s in it, and that was approved, and you'll see in the packets that's there. I paid the taxes on that room as a bedroom to have J1s in there. I would have continued.
J1s?
The J1 students come to work.
Okay.
I would have continued with that, but COVID came and I was too afraid to have anyone in the house at that time. So I would still be doing that. In fact, this year I prepped for that, but I missed their deadlines. So anyway, that's how I got to the place of building the foundation of this apartment. And things became very critical financially this year because I've been flat on my back. I got a diagnosis 7 weeks ago, and there is hope. and my brain is not producing a hormone that I need for my thyroid to make energy for my body. I sleep 15 hours a day, no matter how hard I try to be in my life. And finally, testing was done and they found this. So I'm on a synthetic hormone to make the brain chemicals I need to make the fuel for my body. And they're saying a 5-month recovery till I feel more like myself and I'm not sleeping 15 hours a day. During that time, because I wasn't working in my art studio or selling anything or able to really keep up with the house, everything has fallen behind. So Jay had said to me, "What is your hurry?" And I said, "I can't wait. I'm in critical mass at this point. I have to have a helper and I have to have income if I'm going to stay here. And I'm staying here because my family is here. If I cannot make this work and have to leave, I lose my family. And I lose where I'm currently working as a disabled person. I have a 3-year contract in Harwich in the Art Center, in our new cultural center. The goal is for me to move more into that center and be a mentor. The goal is they're going to put a pottery in 3 years, and I would turn over my pottery equipment and studio to this cultural center and be a mentor there. So I have a long-term plan. There's a reason I'm trying to do this. So I brought pictures so you could actually have a visual of where I've gone to so far and an understanding of the second bedroom. So I'll bring my. So.
Just so you know, you need to speak into the mic, otherwise no one can hear you at home and so on. That's all. Jay, any comments at this point about the den, anything that we need to understand?
So I gave you a copy of the state of Massachusetts definition of a bedroom. It's a room providing privacy intended primarily for sleeping and consisting of all the following: floor space no less than 70 square feet. For new construction, a ceiling height of no less than 7 feet 3 inches. For existing house, a ceiling height of no less than 7 feet. The required ceiling height as to be defined in B and C cover at least 50% of the required floor area. For that, for slope ceilings, no part of the required floor area shall have less than 5 feet in ceiling. An electrical service and ventilation and a window which has a net clear opening of 3.3 square feet and a minimum net clear shall be 20 by 24. So basically closets, whether a room has a closet or not, it doesn't, it's still, as long as it's 70 square feet, has a door and a proper size window, it's considered a bedroom. When I did go to the home, she currently has 4 bedrooms in the house, 4 legal bedrooms in the house.
Does the space of a closet count at square footage?
No,
In a room
the
does not.
habitable space.
So also, when Barry came, he said the doorways would have to be removed, and they're actually holding up the house. There are 2 posts and the beam that goes across that holds up the house. So one of the thoughts I had was, could I cut an open window in the wall, which would still keep the posts holding up the house and the beam, but there'd be no privacy at that point because it would be open with a shelf, like a half wall. I thought of that. I thought of an archway cutting out that wall, which would remove that bedroom entirely and be an open concept. I don't have a lot of money to go out and hire engineers to do this. It would be, cutting out a window and leaving a shelf that eliminates that in any way privacy. There's a sliding glass door at the back. It just removes it from being a bedroom and legalizes what I've done so far, if that's an option.
The definition doesn't speak to privacy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I remember Barry saying something about it. You have.
Very
to
top
leave-
line, a room providing
I'm
privacy.
sorry, providing privacy. I'm sorry.
I think, Mr. Chairman, some of this concern is that some of the advice unfortunately came from a real estate agent.
Mhm.
To say that it's arbitrary is just factually inaccurate. And it's very clear and precise. Title V describes it, what a bedroom is and how there's a clear definition. It's not open to interpretation. It's very clear. That's a concern. And my advice to her was to simply say, there are two outstanding violations. Might those get corrected? The flipping of the downstairs doesn't have any permits at all. And that's where Mark Grills, the building commissioner, there's outstanding violations, electric, plumbing, and building have not been done. Could those have been satisfied? Then the board could have a discussion. I think it would be cleaner and neater. And that's what I was trying to say is, might the work that was done downstairs, flipping of but none of that is permitted. And that becomes some difficult. We're going to try to get to the point where the board could reasonably move forward. But like Barry said, right now it's a 4-bedroom house with a 3-bedroom septic system. I think there's an opportunity, there's an horizon here to get where the board might be able to do that. And my hope is that it can. There is a little bit of work, as Sharon described.
Well, it seems as if we could get to the point of saying that it's a 3-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, and then when all of the building department regulations are met, then it would become a 3-bedroom. Why can't we work on getting it to a 2-bedroom by making this upstairs 3rd bedroom?
There,
Not a
sorry to interrupt
bedroom.
you. There are currently 4 bedrooms in the house,
Right, I understand,
currently 4 full bedrooms.
right. But one of the bedrooms, she's attempting to make into not a bedroom.
So that would give you 3.
So what has to be done to do that?
5-foot case opening on on any of the room, or take out the room. Then it's that basement bedroom in the apartment that was built, which there should have been a removal of the bedroom upstairs prior to the bedroom in the
Right,
basement.
But
being
it
built.
wasn't. So
No.
what would have to be done to that upstairs bedroom?
So I wrote a letter to her, given 2 years to either upgrade the system or to remove one of the bedrooms,
Upgrade what system?
her septic system.
To 4-bedroom, which I
Okay,
don't.
but I'm
need.
saying,
Sure.
but what I'm asking is what would have to happen to that upstairs bedroom?
There needs to be a 5-foot case opening.
So we're,
And you're saying you can't do that
Oh,
because,
no, I'm saying I can.
oh,
Yes,
I think you're referring to the den, right? This is what
yes.
we're talking about.
yes,
To open up the space, you could, obviously you keep, like you see here, you keep the support there. You
yes.
need to
I
open
could- I
the
could
wall.
Absolutely do
Okay.
that.
Right, that's
Okay.
facing the living room. That's really what.
and
I
that's
think-
all it would take.
Yes, and that leaves me with a 3-bedroom home, and the importance for that is, if I understand it moving forward, is that funny zoning of being short in my square footage on the land. If I'm trying to add they will, in zone 2, they will not let you add a
Right,
bedroom.
right.
I already have the bedroom, so I don't want in any way to be saying I'm adding a bedroom.
Except we're not dealing with that
No,
downstairs.
but I just want to make sure as this step goes forward, it doesn't hurt that step, that it helps that step.
I can't speak to that. We can just tell you what it would take to make that not a bedroom in our eyes.
And I
And then
absolutely can do that.
Hope that then you can pass all of the building
But,
codes. and-
Mary, thank you, because in speaking, in the building department is not here. That will be whole application progress, and I don't mean to be a rain cloud here, but there needs to be a second means of egress downstairs. And,
Yeah,
and,
that's
There
right.
is.
Right,
and there, well, Mark Grills seemed to have a problem with that. He said to me, he says, just make sure they are fully aware, because you don't want to go through that permitting process. And it's making sure there's a second means of egress.
There's a bulkhead there or not?
Yes, and when I went down the bylaws, the pictures you see of the apartment, I haven't changed the plumbing and I haven't changed the electrical. I worked on putting wires in with a friend, but nothing is hooked up. We were waiting to go for permits. He put a closet around the electrical system for me and built the frame of what might be a bathroom. And one of the reasons I kept moving forward is Mark had said to me, You can put somebody down there, Sharon. You just can't have, you, right now legally, you can put somebody down there. You just can't have a bathroom. Or if you have a bathroom, you can't have a full kitchen. You can have all the cabinets you want, but you can't have a stove. So I moved forward with that idea. I can put somebody down there. But, so it's very confusing to me where I'm at with all this with you. I didn't go in building an illegal apartment and moving forward without permits in any way deliberately. I've been waiting for this all to happen, for somebody to tell me when, what's the next step, what happens next. So in doing all of this, the building department sent me a letter last week, which rattled me to my core because it said I was in violation. I had an illegal apartment. I went in really overwhelmed and frightened, and a nice gentleman came out and said, it doesn't matter what the water department is doing. It doesn't matter what the health department's doing. You need a building permit. So I did. I got my building permit. And I said, and I'm welcoming, please come in and see where I've gotten to. And the apartment right now, as it stands, I did the things that I could do to get it ready for J1s. And mostly everything is free, but there's table, furniture, bed, all of that is in there. I bought used kitchen cabinets and stuck those in. But the real work that takes permitting, I have not started into. I was waiting for this meeting, for this information, and then tell me what I do next. So I now have the permits. Barry has been in and looked at everything, and that's where I am so far. And let's see what else yes, I'm so glad you're asking me questions.
Take your time, okay?
Okay.
Just,
Yes,
all right, now,
yes, I wrote letters to all the abutters. They all know, their friends, their neighbors, they know my needs.
what you've done here with numbering things, it's very helpful. I'm just looking at number 4, everyone,
Yes,
which is the floor plan.
Yeah.
Question I had for you, I went by the place today. There was a car parked on the driveway. In front of that, it looked like sliding doors.
yes,
Right,
that's into
so
my garage.
Here it says garage. So
I-
what is that space used for
It has
now?
all
Because there's
my-
no garage door there.
It has my kilns,
Okay,
and I work in there.
okay. Is that a heated area or not?
It is, yes, and you're reminding me that I had everything weatherized, so the weatherization man said, if you close in that door, we can weatherize up above, so I did that, but I left the garage door also that it comes up and down. And they weatherized this year for me. They did the apartment, they did the ceiling in the apartment, they provided a refrigerator, assuming that I'm moving forward with an apartment. And it re-insulated the entire outside of the building from the original insulation 1974. They said it was mostly useless. So all that was done also.
That was by what, like a mass save contract or
Yes.
something? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Maybe I missed it. There was a picture of the back of the house. I
Okay.
didn't see,
Yes.
was there a bulkhead there? Where's the bulkhead? What side of the house?
To the left, and I missed it in the picture. But
Okay,
the reason I took those 2 pictures is I wanted you to see the front of the house looks beautiful. I did that before I got really, really ill the last 3 years, and the back of the house looks like it's a mess. And it is, because I was sick straight through. And so I took pictures of both so that you can see the slippage from being ill and trying to get everything back going again without losing it. That's my whole purpose.
just, I brought up the bulkhead only in that, you understand that for a bedroom downstairs, you need 2 ways to get out of there.
Yes, there is
Okay,
2.
fine, as long as you, okay.
Basement steps going
Yep,
down.
no, just
yeah.
so you understood that. That's great. Good.
And the window in the bedroom is the correct size.
Which
as,
bedroom?
Downstairs,
Okay, right.
yes, it's the correct size.
okay.
And the size of the apartment is under 800 square feet, which it needs to be that as a 1-bedroom. I just tried to follow all the things I was finding that it said that I needed to do to make it a legal apartment.
Well, so far, it sounds like you're doing a great job. It's difficult, a lot of details to keep this organized, just complimenting
That's
you
my
on it.
hypervigilant, tired brain, yes.
Okay, let's keep
Okay,
going.
so I'm gonna I think we've covered a lot of it, but I'm gonna read you number 2, what I wrote. What happened after I purchased my 3-bedroom home? I began the process of the grant for my septic, and this is where the paperwork is noticed that it got different numbers of bedrooms. Lorian Schultz reached out to Amy Van Horn from the Health Department and sent her the field cards of the 3 bedrooms. Amy Van Horn responded positively, contacting Lorian and also someone from your office. I'm assuming Amy contacts the septic people. They in turn changed their paperwork from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom, and the work began on the septic. I'll ask at that time while the inspector is with me, and that's what I want to correct Jay about. The second handwritten drawing in there that shows the upstairs bedroom becoming a den was not drawn by a real estate agent. It was drawn by someone here. And Mark Grillis looked up the signature. It's like a funny thing in a circle. And he said that was done out of our offices. The person that came through to inspect, also the septic inspector, but the person that came through to inspect approved that second bedroom to become the den. And that was not the real estate agent. So you'll see it on that second map. There is a signature up in there. I don't know who it is. Mark Grillis knows who it is. While that inspector was with me, I asked if I could move the upstairs bedroom down to the downstairs for the future. I will need an aide at some future time. We looked at both rooms and it was acceptable to them that I make the downstairs the bedroom and the upstairs the den. There are no new rooms to build. I just switched the 2 rooms. And I was told when I make the apartment, I will have to take the doors off the upstairs room and the closet doors off. In the meantime, it is used as an office with the doors wide open. My contractor tells me it will take less than an hour to take them all off and to let me know when he wants them to do that. In 2019, I also rented the bedrooms to J1 students and one of the upstairs back bedrooms. They were inspected by your offices, approved by your offices, and I paid the taxes to someone for someone to be in those bedrooms. I would still be doing that except for COVID stepped in and shut everything down, and I didn't feel safe renting at that time. I also want to point out that Lorian Schultz did a sketch and called that bedroom number 3. And when the septic people helped me and the health department came, the bedroom became number 2, and number 2 moved downstairs. And the downstairs room became the den upstairs. The downstairs room existed from the very beginning of the time of this house. It was marked finished room in the basement. I did not build it. It was already there. There was also a kitchen sink and lower cabinets there and plumbing. And in 2020, I believe I put a heating stove down there and it was approved by the town. This year, I also had weatherization and they weatherized the ceiling and put in a refrigerator with the anticipation of a renter coming in, getting ready to make the apartment. They also insulated the entirety of the outside of the house. So that's number 2. Any questions? I think we covered a lot of it. Number 3, packet number 3, this is where it started. This answers question number 3. I purchased a 3-bedroom home in February 2018. Paul Latendry sold his house twice before, and both of those deals fell through. I'm going to show you the paperwork of how I purchased a 3-bedroom house from him. There was a real estate agent named Deirdre who was Paul's agent, and a real estate agent named Lorian Schultz who was mine. The house was being sold to me in pre-foreclosure. I think this is where most of the confusion came from. I'm going to explain it to the best of my ability. You will see that the papers show that I have a 2-bedroom, and you will also see that the papers show that I have a 3-bedroom. Both came from these offices through the assessors. No one paper is more legal than the other. As far as I can see at the time the house was built, there was no offices here and no documentation of what the house was in its inception. It appears the only documentation are the field cards from the assessor's office, and they change. The assessors told me that sometimes they even assess when they can't get into the building. They go by old paperwork or what somebody tells them, or they guess. The house was empty in 2017, and I'll show you in the paperwork how it was assessed twice in the same year. And as far as I can tell in that paperwork, the one I was given said 3-bedroom. And visually, that's what I saw when I went through the house. And Lorian Schultz was given the information that it was a 3-bedroom off the field card. I will show you how I got a septic as a 3-bedroom home through this paperwork. The pictures of my house in the paperwork I received were the old house. And also at some point I received pictures of the new house and the paperwork, one saying 2-bedroom, one saying 3. The original information came from the assessor's cards, not the real estate agents. That needs to be acknowledged. From there, I began the journey of moving in and applying for grant for the septic, which is what we talked about. Number 4 shows you this is what was drawn. And if you see up in underneath 142 Captain Small Road, it says, I thought it said Carl. And I spoke to Carl Lawson because he's the man that helped me with the septic. And he said, no, that's not me. Mark Grillis knows who that person is. It's somebody from the, I believe, the health department. Anyway, that person went through the upstairs with me when we were determining the number of bedrooms for the septic, and the septic people were coming in. And he drew den where my bedroom was. So from that moment, I have believed I have a 3-bedroom home, 2 bedrooms upstairs, 1 bedroom downstairs, and a den where the old bedroom was. And what Barry is saying to me is that is not legal. And I understand what you're asking of me to make it legal, take out a wall. And so my question is, can I do a big open window? I have to do, well, that would be 5 foot. Barry, when
5
it's
foot,
5 foot by,
5 foot case opening is what he said. We already agreed to do that.
okay, all right, so that takes care of that. And now we get to, so packet number 5 will show you the surrounding houses in my neighborhood that are connected to mine, all my neighbors. Built in the same years, built by the same builder, and they're all 3 bedrooms. Just to reiterate, I have a 3-bedroom home. And there are square footages, which I don't think matters to you. It will matter to the next place I have to go to about how big my lot is. Their 3-bedroom home square footages are equal or lesser, and one is slightly larger. So I included that. And then I'm down to the last, which is all the strange little questions that I have, which at this point, I don't know, has to do with any of you. It's about the accessory dwelling unit bylaws that are showing. And I'll ask the questions and you can scoot me on and say that's not us. But I picked up the old bylaws. I circled 2 things. And what was interesting to me in the old bylaws, I went to the series of meetings this summer that were about changing the bylaws that I was saying about the amount you can charge for rent and does it need to be a relative. And in that I picked up the paperwork. And so there's a spot that says the lot on which the accessory apartment is located must have a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. I have 19,602. In these papers, it didn't say anything that I have found about zone 2. In the current papers, it does, and that's why I didn't bring it forward to you. I didn't pick up the papers until after I turned in my information. The current papers say, let's see, zone 2 is that area of an aquifer which contributes to water to a drinking water well. In general, properties located within this zone 2 are limited to 1 bedroom per 10,000 square feet of land. If your existing house and lot do not meet the minimum standard, you may be grandfathered. That's one of the things I'm presenting here tonight. If you're acknowledging I have a 3-bedroom, then I may be grandfathered. So that takes me to the next place of what I have to resolve. Okay, so if your existing house and lot do not meet the minimum standard, you may be grandfathered, but cannot increase the number of bedrooms on the property. That was another reason for saying I already have them. Special permits, relief allowed via special permit from the zoning bylaw, typically through the Zoning Board of Appeals, or sometimes the planning board, requires a public hearing with mailed notification to abutters within 300 feet of the property and legal notice to the Cape Cod Times. To approve a special permit, it must be shown that under no no undue nuisance, hazard, or congestion will be created, and that there will be no substantial harm to the established or future character of the neighborhood or town. So I am not building out from my property what's the word for it? It's not changing in shape.
The footprint.
The footprint is not changing, and also I'm not a family living in my home. I'm one person bringing one more person in. So in terms of the use of the property, overtaxing in the watershed, I would point that out, that I don't intend to have a gaggle of people in my home. If I sold it, then it has an opportunity to have 4 or 6 people live in it. So, and I'm hoping to stay 15 or 20 years. That's my goal. The other thing, variances require relief from the zoning bylaw from the zoning board of appeals because the use or some aspect of the development is prohibited by the zoning bylaw. Criteria for issuance of a variance is more stringent than for a special permit. So, let's see, and I actually think I covered everything. Oh, one other thing. This was a curiosity to me. It's in both of the current and the older bylaws. Amnesty. In an effort to meet the town's housing needs, real property containing an accessory apartment as described in this bylaw section for which there does not exist a validly issued variance, special permit or building permit or occupancy permit may apply to the Board of Appeals for a special permit to legally continue the use as an accessory apartment. The Board of Appeals shall be empowered to grant a special permit waiving any portion of bylaw section 104, 201, 202, and 203 as they pertain to a single-family dwelling. The Board of Appeals shall not waive the provisions of this bylaw section except by variance, and any accessory apartment created under this amnesty provision shall comply to the requirements of the bylaw section. And then I wrote, could this pertain to me? And I think I got it all. And that's where I've landed so far in attempting to help myself.
Good job. Barry, question I have
Yes, sir.
is there our only responsibility here is the number of bedrooms to make sure and giving advice that the den, which is labeled here,
Mhm.
needs to qualify as not a bedroom, in other
Right.
words, and to whatever regulations are of the health department for the room downstairs meet the requirements to be a bedroom. Does this board have to address anything else?
The only thing I was just thinking of, if you put an accessory dwelling in, that would make it technically a duplex. Would we?
No.
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 Well, it makes
Yeah.
it more than a single family dwelling, and that's supposed to be addressed in November.
That's going to be addressed at the town meeting.
So.
Potentially. I don't want to
Well,
presuppose
My
that, but
my only question would be. In Title V, if you have more than one unit, you have to have a dual compartment septic tank.
Yeah.
because you're putting a bathroom, you know, as this works, you're pumping it up, that changes the septic system. I will go back to have someone label a floor plan as a den does not make it a den. As we stand here today,
I understand.
Right.
that's our consensus, that's
Right,
the difficulty
no.
is.
No, we're just saying, what would it take to make it not a bedroom? And Barry has said,
5-foot
5
case
foot.
opening.
5-foot cased opening, and then we will be,
so that's what we would say is required for us to say, okay, you call it whatever you want, but it's not a bedroom.
Yes.
it fit the definition, so it would no longer fit the definition of a bedroom. And that downstairs, then it
I
would
was
be,
just taking it one at a time.
Okay.
That's the upstairs part. The downstairs part is to make it a bedroom that would satisfy us, it has to, it has to meet all of the building codes, absolutely.
Yes.
And it also has to have, which is also, I'm sure, a building code, a second means of egress of
It
exit.
does.
Yeah.
And also I insured it. I made sure that space is insured also.
But that's for
As that
your,
kind of
that's
dwelling.
for your benefit. You know, that's nothing that we
Okay.
get into. All right.
okay, and
So that this doesn't have to come before us again. If I make a
Thank you.
motion that we approve the third floor or the third bedroom that's designated on a map as a den, but is not a den, it is legally a bedroom, become a bedroom by having a 5-foot casement opening, that has to come back to us, with proof that that has happened. By how long is it going to take you to get that done?
Gosh.
You said you had a contract that said he could do it, but that was
well, that
taking
to
out a
take the
door.
Doors, but I'm sure, it's, I hesitate because contractors take so long
understand.
to, I could say.
2
"Oh, I'll
weeks,
get
a
'em in
month?
Tomorrow.
I mean, you need to get this
So
done.
6 weeks.
Okay, in 6
Right,
weeks.
and I will hope to come in faster than that.
Okay, and sure, then as long as it's okay with Jay, you could come in quicker than that if she has it done,
Absolutely.
That would be wonderful. And
because then that's done.
Yes.
That part's done. And you're okay with that. You have to deal with the downstairs part. You already know that we're going to say you have to have, but the other stuff, is building, and that's not our purview.
Then I go to building next.
Right. But then you're okay in terms of septic, as long as this whole ADU thing, and that's not our purview either.
Okay.
It sounds to me like they probably didn't even anticipate septic when they did the ADU.
exactly. And that, thank you, Mary. And that you understand this at a very high level. Because it's in the basement, and Barry brings up a good point, it may in fact have an impact on the septic system.
Right.
Even though it's a 3-bedroom, the location of that bedroom is going to have to, there's some things that need to be sorted out. I'd like to think we can get there, but
Right.
there is some process. To say that we moved a bedroom downstairs, but we didn't take the one out upstairs, that's what we're at.
Mary, 2 points. One, how would you feel about once what's called the den has work done to it, whether that is just reviewed by the health department, or does it have to come in front of the board just to look at the plans or do a site
Just
visit?
go to the health department. Yeah,
Right,
we don't,
good.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
I
have to
don't
see
think we
it.
need, I agree. Second thing is, if this is going to the town meeting, you should be prepared to deal with the ADA, with the Americans Disabilities Act,
Yep.
and how that may affect decisions like a duplex, or
Right.
what is this town required to do based upon the American Disabilities Act, which may require a variance, or doesn't need a variance
It's an
because it meets
exception.
the.
Yeah,
Yes, so that's something someone's got to do some homework on if this is going to a town meeting.
Right.
It's, I think, an important
I'm
point.
I will bring that, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll bring that up to Kathy Williams, the handler. She's kind of taking, she actually presented to the selectmen this past week. You might have watched that. And I will ask her that. I will get an answer for you.
Okay.
Is the ADA provisions being incorporated into the accessory dwelling zoning change? Right. I can find that out.
I have one more question. My confusion, Mark said you can have someone in there now. It's legal as long as you don't have the bathroom. Is that can I have someone, a potential person to help me? And I would like to move forward, but I want to make sure I'm following that I'm doing the right thing. So that's my big question.
you don't have,
There's no bathroom down there. There's no completed kitchen.
No problem.
Like Mark said, he said, if you completed that, then you'd be,
but you said you have 2 exits.
I have 2 exits, the window's the right size, the
Okay,
bedroom.
right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
All the other things that they've given me to follow are intact.
I would suggest once you get make the 5-foot case opening, then you have a 3-bedroom, then you can sleep people in each one of the 3 bedrooms.
Okay, thank
That
you.
would be my suggestion. That would
Okay, then
be-
I'll get on that immediately.
I agree with that.
Could, I would really ask, could you just make sure that the buildings department, to make sure it is safe, if there are electrical, they've sent you a legal notice of violation.
I corrected it and they're
Okay.
gonna, I think within the next 2 weeks, come and inspect the apartment.
That would be wonderful. You wouldn't want to have putting someone in where
No.
you have received the notice, and this went out on, I think.
Because your insurance won't help. you.
Exactly. You put someone in and you're under a correction order.
Okay.
All right.
And one last question is, David's been taking notes. How do I know what the next step is? that I should be doing.
If I could jump in. My immediate, as we sit here, this is a 4-bedroom. If you were to list this property, you could say it's a 4-bedroom now. With a 3-bedroom septic system, you have to take, in the cadence of this, make the changes so that bedroom upstairs, as it's being called a den or so, what Barry saw, it is actually a bedroom. If you need him to go back over to meet with the contractor, he'll gladly do that. We can do it. So what has to be done to a cased opening? You may not be familiar with that, but certainly your brother-in-law is. A cased opening where there is no privacy. It's not about the closet and the doors on a closet and things like that.
Eliminate the privacy.
Exactly. Now it's no longer a bedroom. Now it is a den. It technically, no matter what you put in there, it's no longer a bedroom. Now you have 2 bedrooms upstairs, and now you're going to try and get the violations corrected so you have one downstairs. Those are the pieces that need to be done. And I don't want to speak to what the buildings department is asking. I really don't know what has to be done.
Literally did not understand. I didn't understand most of this till about a few days ago when I went to the buildings department and he tried to explain. This is a mishmash you're in, and you have to go between departments. I didn't even understand what he's been talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm understanding it more clearly. And that's the hard gift of all of this is I feel more empowered by going through this process than being afraid and cowering in the dark that something terrible would happen to me because I'm not doing things correctly.
Think you're
This
taking
feels much
control?
better, hard, but better.
It's very good cognitive training. This is through this process. It's
Exhausting.
yeah, there are benefits from you doing this, I would
Yes,
think,
there are.
dealing with a brain injury.
I'm
So good for you.
proud of myself.
I do have one question for the future. If you do get approved for the ADA unit, the bathroom, did they say anything how it would be plumbed?
I bought a Sanipro toilet and it's sitting there.
Okay,
Uh,
so
and
that's a grinder
Yes,
pump. To have per Title V, to have a grinder pump, you have to have a dual compartment tank and your dual compartment septic tank. The reason behind that, normal feces and normal sinks and toilet paper flows. So in between you have your effluent where the grinder, the sandy flows, it grinds it up and puts all the particles in the middle. That gets into your system and that clogs up your leaching field. So per Title V regulations, you have to have a dual compartment tank to have any kind of grinder pump or ejector pump.
So see what a dual compartment means? Just the language may be complicated here for, do you understand all the language? No. So why don't we not explain what a dual compartment is or?
Most septic tanks are just a shoebox. X size. A dual compartment tank, it flows in this side, it has a half wall. So it prevents any settlement from flowing into the next level. It's a dual compartment, has 2 compartments. So that keeps all the minute micro size particles from flowing in farther down into your system, into your brand new septic system, clogging it and ruining it. So I just wanted to give you that heads up.
is it like not cost effective? And is there another way to do it? Because the
You
other,
could put in another like a 500-gallon tank, right? Also, that would make it a dual
okay.
compartment. So
And would I still use the Sanipro toilet or a
you
different?
could then, yes.
I could then, yes.
But she doesn't need a 500-gallon tank if she doesn't use that grinder toilet.
No, but so why I asked is because the basement bathroom is below grade.
Yeah.
So it has to come out somehow.
Go uphill.
Yeah, it has to come out
Okay.
somehow. That's that's what made me think of it. So just for future reference.
Bedrooms first.
Yeah, take care of the bedroom.
The
first.
bedrooms first. Don't worry about the rest of. We'll
Yep.
catch up with it.
Yeah.
No, let's not make a big deal out of this.
I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's
Yes.
what will happen.
Okay. Well, I thank you all for the help. It is
boy.
daunting to me too.
Okay,
Do next.
I'm going home to bash the wall out of my living room.
Why God invented chainsaws.
Oh, my goodness.
Ah,
the emotion here.
Mary, I would like if you would come back over and if you can do that and have a look.
The health department can deal with the rest of it in the sense of.
In the bedroom, I think I need to, yeah. I think I probably need to make a motion about that and say that, that we will accept considering the third bedroom that is now unofficially marked in on a hand-drawn map as not a bedroom once a 5-foot casement has been put in. And that has been proven to the health department staff.
Is there a second to that motion?
Well, I guess the question though is, we just want to make sure she can have 3 bedrooms in the house. In total.
We can't, that I thought was answered. I mean, from everything she's shown me, I think that's a given, that's been officially said. She's got 3-bedroom house. Yeah, that's not question. I don't think from everything I've
Not a
seen.
question.
The question is, she doesn't have a 4-bedroom house, but she does right now, sort of. So we're just saying in terms of that, making that official marked in, not a bedroom would take a 5-foot casement put in there and proof of that brought to the health department. And then you're okay with the health department as far as 3 bedrooms go.
And can I simultaneously be working with the building?
Of course, you
department?
better.
I wasn't doing any of that. I was following Jay.
Right.
And okay, so I can work with more than one
Getting those-
department and listen to what they're saying.
Getting
and do
those
what they're saying.
problems. taken
Before you
care of.
do the 5-foot case opening, 100% pull a building permit though. You can't do it yourself.
I want to know that part.
Yes.
I would have gotten the sledgehammer out.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so the 5-foot case opening requires a building permit?
Yes.
No question. You have a notice from Tim Sears with a violation notice. Please get on that right away.
Oh, I already did the permits. They're
Terrific.
coming in
Stay in
2
close
weeks.
contact with them.
Okay.
That's-
great.
Okay, we still have a motion here. We need a second to the motion. Oh, sure.
Because I was all over the place. Can you start? with
Sure.
the motion and-
Right. I move that we accept the 3rd bedroom on the house drawings become not a bedroom by installing a 5-foot casement. And that proof of that be submitted to the health department so that that room is no longer considered a bedroom.
Second.
Just a second.
Did you get
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, second, thank you. Any further discussion? Hopefully not.
That's enough.
Okay. All in
Thank you so
favor of the
much.
motion, raise your hand and say aye. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have questions, come to the health department, come to the board, you can contact me, whatever you want. Okay, we'll get you through this.
Thank you so much.
You like these back?
Yes, thank you. Just in case the next department wants.
It's possible.
Okay, to try to move things along. Meanwhile, the 4th item here is an update of the migrant family relocation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take that. I'd like to direct the board, as you know, the town administrator has used the town website as the point of information. Most recently, and you have a copy of them, is about 30 frequently asked questions. That has been developed by the state and to help answer a lot of sometimes there's a lot of misinformation and misinforming that has gone on. And this is hopefully going to cut through a lot of that. So I would direct whether yourselves, if you're being asked from your constituents, people will stop you, what have you, what's going on with the migrant, the settlement, things of that nature. The frequently asked questions are on the website. And then also on Friday, the town administrator did put out another press release. He's been doing that on a fairly regular basis. The last one was October 13th. And again, there's just some highlights that we have seen. 4 guardsmen are on site coordinating services. A local restaurant is coordinating meals. An on-site daycare center is being put in place for children not of school age, under 4 and under. And ongoing medical screenings. The whole press release from the 13th of October is also on the website. We're in close contact with the Harbor Suites. Although there was an upward adjustment in the number of rooms that are available. So we'll see, but as we get information, and it is difficult to get credible and timely information, but as we get them, whether the town administrator or myself, we get that out to you folks and through the way of the website. Okay,
Thank you.
that's where we're at. Okay,
Anything else?
that's gonna do it.
Okay, fine. So next item is, looks like an update on coronavirus. And it says positivity rate, so.
Yes, sir.
Take it away.
As of last week when we pulled these, the positivity rates have gone down in Yarmouth. Compared to the county, we are still below what the county is. Again,
It's actually higher.
Yeah, bumped up a little bit.
It's bumped up.
it's
It's
gone up,
12.
but the positive rates.
Positivity rate is 12.2. And it has been 11.62 and 11.76, so it's going up.
So we had, in the last 2 weeks, we had 32 positive. The last week we had 16 positive, so.
But we're looking at the positivity rate.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep, you're correct. I apologize on that. Again, the health department does not have free COVID tests to give out. You still have to go to a store to get those. We're still getting those questions.
Or go online to the
Once again,
government. There's.
Yep, and we
giving
did
out-
put that on the website. Also where you can register with the state to get some for per household rates. And then in general, if you're not feeling well, this is to the public that's listening in. If you're not feeling well, if you're sick at all, whether it's COVID, flu, anything, take care of yourself. You don't have to go to work. Just don't make any other people sick, please. So, and then on that note, we are still taking reservations for our flu clinic, which we are holding at the senior center again this year, not at St. Pius. At the senior center, I did talk to the VNA today, and we still have a little over 100 spots open. So all that information is on the website to call in to get an appointment, or you can just go onto my chart and go from there to get an appointment. So
Barry, what's the date on that? Early November?
the 3rd, November 1st, Friday, November 3rd.
I'll be there.
I was the first one to sign up.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 6 is new and old business. Anyone have any new or old business? When would the next meeting be? Would be what's called new business, I guess. That's what
Believe
I
it's
was looking at.
The 6th of November, do you have that right?
Let's take a look. I
First Monday in November?
was looking at. The 6th. Yeah, that actually is good, at least for me. What about anyone else? You okay?
Mhm.
Fine. So next meeting would be November 6th. Okay. Anything else? Anyone?
Be the one after that. Would that be around the holidays? Just so,
Okay.
Veterans Day is then the following week, they would then hit the weekend after, the week after that.
Okay.
So in between would be the Monday will be Veterans Day.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Number 7, anyone want to make a motion here to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
So here, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Still want these envelopes?
Yes.
We definitely will take them.
Yep.
One less thing for Erica.